Welcome to Roof It Up. This is a podcast about innovators, entrepreneurs, business leaders, and their stories about the course they took by Saenz Global.
Hello, welcome to Roof It Up. Today I'm super excited because we got the one and only Chris Scoville in the house.
I don't know what the world would do with two of us.
So actually, Chris, if you could take a few minutes or seconds, whatever you want, and just tell the audience who you are, what do you do? Let them know who you are.
I love it. I love loaded questions. Who am I? I'm just figuring it out. I'll be 52 in January. And I think I'm just figuring out who I am now. I've always known my name and my social security number and where I've lived.
Well, that's good.
But when people say tell us about you and who you are, I'm a work in progress and I'm figuring out as we go. So without that being said, seriously, wow, who am I? I've been in the industry a long time. I'll just rewind it. So I moved to Florida, where we are right now, which is great.
Yes.
When I think I was about 19 or 20.
Hold on. If you're not watching this on YouTube, you need to, because you need to check out Chris. You're 52, you just said that, right?
I'll be 52 in January.
Okay, first of all, if you see Chris, the man looks like he's in his 30s. And literally,
I love you.
He just posted a picture of his wife, and she's freaking hot. And I'm like, what the? Chris.
She's a little younger than I am.
A little. But you have so much. But
that could be one of my questions today. How did you land her?
Okay,
right?
We might talk about that. But yeah, if you're not you need to
great.
just go and see this video. Chris, you're a really good looking 52. That 52 is the new
January.
32.
52 is the new 32.
You
what
look
the
fantastic.
hell?
But all right,
all that clean living.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah. So anyway, we'll rewind. So I'm 20 years old. I grew up in Western New York, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. All I know is I didn't want to be a cop and get shot at for $30,000 a year. So, I'm talking 1989, right?
Okay.
I graduated high school in 89. I was out of college in 91, had my degree in criminal justice. So I packed up, I did what every person in Western New York does, is you pack up your truck and you move to Florida. And you're going to figure it out when you get there. So I stopped in Stewart, which is just north of here. And I ended up doing roofing with a roofing contractor, doing tie beams. So we were banging out golf course homes.
Okay.
So I was in the roofing industry a really, really long time ago. And then I realized it's really hot out here. I wonder if I could actually get into real estate and maybe I can get into the financing side or something like that. So I'll fast forward a couple of years before, after that, I went and got my mortgage broker license, and I ended up getting my big break. And we'll talk about that maybe later.
Yeah.
And worked in the construction to permanent wholesale lending industry with contractors for over 26 years now.
Oh,
so let's fast forward to 2022.
Yes.
I've been in finance damn near over 25, 26 years.
Wow.
So where am I now? So I'm the executive vice president with a company called Service Finance, and we're a division of Truist Bank. And Truist is now the fifth or sixth largest lender in the nation, $655 billion in assets. So I'm the business development director over there, and I help contractors bring financing to the point of sale to help consumers. So on a professional side, that's what I do professionally. On the non-professional side, I do all sorts of cool stuff. I love software, and I love playing with my dogs, and I sing a little bit, and I play guitar, and I hang out with my wife and kind of chill and live that kind of lifestyle.
And you have a granddaughter that's 11 or
My granddaughter's 11. Yeah, my daughter's 31. All their Christmas gifts are good. So we're all set there. I was responsible, got everybody's Christmas shopping done this year nice and early. So yeah, I've been in the industry a long time. I bleed blue, and for a particular reason, I bleed green. I bleed green for financing because it's in my blood.
Right.
I love bringing value to the contracting space.
Yeah.
And then, of course, helping the industry just better itself.
Right.
Because I've been in it so long, from residential to commercial to 203K to wholesale construction to permanent mortgage to unsecured lending. I've worked so many different asset sides of it all that I can really just sit down with a contractor and be like, okay, what's the problem?
Right.
And now look, if I can't solve it, I've got tons of partners in the industry like you guys on the outsourcing side that I can refer it over to. And I stay out of my lane, man. If I don't know it, I'm referring that stuff out because there's nothing better than giving credibility where credibility is due. So anyway, that's enough about me.
Pretty much just
okay. Great podcast. We'll see
you're
you.
a badass, and we're so happy that you're here.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go home.
Awesome.
Let's go get some lunch. There's like 6 places to go eat. Let's
do it. Let's do it. No, but okay. Chris, question for you.
Yeah.
So I know you've been, there's a lot been going on this year. Have you recently been on any like flights recently?
I have. Oh my Lord. I was flying private for a couple years.
Oh,
it was awesome. And I'm now flying commercial again. So there's this airline I found out the other day called Frontier.
Yes.
So
have you not been on?
No.
It is like the spirit.
So this is a good story. So we have anyway, let's keep going. So we got Global Express of the company, Global American Express, and they do all of our travel stuff. And I'm like, I want to fly to Phoenix, and I want to leave from Fort Lauderdale, and I want to go direct. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to stop anywhere. And she's like, Mr. Scoville, we can't help you with that. I said, come on, let's dig into this together. So I'm working with a lady, and we find this thing called Frontier. And I'm like, and she goes, Mr. Scoville, you're all set. There's a flight that leaves here. You can leave in the morning, because I had a meeting with Rufel out there on Sunday afternoon with Joe Hoffman and those guys. So it was great. It was great timing. She goes, I think there's a problem with your ticket. I said, what? She goes, it's $37.89. She goes, something's not adding up. I go, yeah, it ain't adding up. That doesn't make any sense. Is that just for my bag? She's like, no, that's the flight. So we booked it, and I'm laughing and she's laughing. I said, all right. So since the flight is so cheap, I said, can we go first class? And she's like, Mr. Scoville, I don't think there is a first class. I said, well, get me all of the upgrades. So there wasn't much to upgrade. No. I got row 1C in the front, extra spaced, first A zone A loading. It gets better. I'm like super frugal with money. But I love money. Money, it's just fun. It's like a fucking game to me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what is Frontier? How many bags can I bring? What am I going to bring? So I Googled it. What is Frontier bags? Because I didn't know, because I had to bring a computer. I had to bring all the stuff, right? So I get online and I watch this YouTube of this guy saying, here's the bag that you can buy to get on the airline to not have any baggage fees. And he does a 50, guys, this is super important. Everybody should have a YouTube station. Everybody should be teaching somebody something to help somebody else out. This guy helped me out. So I watched the video. I'm like, that's the bag that I need. And he shows you how to roll up your clothes and put it in there, where to put the toothbrush. Like, it was brilliant. I brought so much stuff for 4 days in one little tiny bag. So anyway, amazing. I buy the bag at the end. I'm sure he made money off of it. It was $14. So it was $14 to buy this bag.
We need to figure out that YouTube channel.
I buy the bag.
We'll put it there on the bottom of
I buy the bag. I got it on my thing, and I'm going to Fort Lauderdale, where I bumped into you, ironically enough. And I was like, this thing's not going to fit in that little square. They're going to charge me $75. I didn't care, but it was the game. I want to win.
Right.
So I take the bag, and I go, bloop, and it goes right into it. I was like, oh my God, it worked. So anyway, that's how I bought the bag to get on the plane. I get on the plane. I'm on the plane, and this lady, I'm sitting front row, first class. I got tons of leg room. The thing goes back so far, I feel bad putting it back. I said, I'm sorry. The lady across from me is going, and I'm like, what's fucking wrong with you? Like, are you okay? You got that COVID thing, right? So she's like, can you believe there's no internet? And I'm like, yeah. I'm prepared. I brought this thing called an iPad, and I'm going to make notes. And I brought a book to read. So I'm ready to just be absolutely unplugged for 5 hours on this airline. So I get to work. Now, I don't know if you can see this. This is my mindset. This woman next to me is watching me, and she's going, the huffer and the puffer.
Yeah.
She's like, what do you do? And I told her, I said, I help contractors, blah, blah, blah. And I like software. I'm a geek and all this other stuff. So I basically sat there for 5 hours and read, thought about something, went and took notes, went back and read.
What book were you reading?
Earmark. You're not, this is embarrassing.
Tell me.
10X Rule with Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
I'm just reading it now. Mind you, I was on stage with him speaking at Profit Rocket in Caesar's Palace 2 years ago. I was on the main stage speaking about financing. Grant Cardone was the main anchor there, and I hadn't read any of his books. But I knew him because I went to the 10X thing down in Miami years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm actually on stage at Caesar speaking to a crowd of air conditioning professionals, and he was the main staple there, which is really exciting. But I had never read any of his books. So I almost felt like, not imposter, but I almost felt guilty not reading his stuff. And Andy Frisella and Ed Milet are two of my coaches. I'm in Arete.
Love it.
So Andy was talking about it the other morning in my ear, like the TEDx this and that, take the principles out. I was like, damn it, I'm getting all the signs. So I bought the book and I'm reading the book, and it's good stuff. I've made a couple notes out of it, but yeah.
Love it.
So I'm reading, taking notes, and now I'm moving this lady from huff and puff to it's okay to unplug.
Right.
And like get outside of our minds, because we're so freaking plugged in all the time on everything that I don't think we let our creative juices flow enough.
Agree. Totally.
Right?
100%.
Like we're so plugged into the Netflix, into the computers, and this, and I'm walking and you're bumping into people at the grocery stores that we don't spend enough time being creative anymore.
Right.
And I just told you out there what I built while I was on the plane. The framework of it came from me being completely unplugged. So I think in 23, and I'm not really big on New Year's resolutions. I'm going to unplug. I'm going to unplug. I'm going to go and get away. I'm going to take my electronic notepad, and I'm going to just let the creative juices flow and see what comes out from it.
No, there's so much power in unplugging. So I don't know if you know, like I'm from the Amazon jungle, like literally the tribe in like indigenous tribe of the Amazon. So
I did not.
That's where I was born.
Wow.
So like when we go back sometimes to like just be with the people, there is like this thing that happens where there is no internet.
Right.
There is no television. There's no cable. There's no cell phone towers, nothing. And the people, yet they don't have any of this. They're so happy.
Yeah.
Like they're just
focused.
They're just happy and they're just creative. And you feel like you see these like inventions that they come up with. Like the kids are happy. The parents are like, everyone is happy, yet they don't have all of these things. And it's just kind of this beautiful reminder of like, this is where we started.
That's where we started.
And this is really like, all of this is so good. And it's like brought us, to another level of growth and all these things. But there's something so powerful about just unplugging and people all around the world. Like this is their life, and it's like so beautiful to like unplug.
That's cool. Someone asked me that last week. They said, "What's one thing you want to work on next year?" And explained it in one word, and mine was focus.
I love it
because my mind is crazy.
Yeah, no, I can relate. 100%.
It just goes and goes and goes, and it's funny. People are like, "Oh my," they're like to my wife. My wife's a nurse, and they're always like, "How do you deal with him?" No, folks. What you don't understand is this energy that you feel and you see right now. If you're in this room, you're feeling energy.
Yeah.
I walk in the room, I'm bringing it. Right. At 8:00 at night, I'm like this. Like I'm just chill. I'm not all wound up and writing on the whiteboard and doing backflips. Like I go all in as far as I can go during the day, and I get my workouts in, and I do my work, and I make my calls. 8, 9 o'clock at night, I'm chilling. I'm unplugging. Yeah. So I'm not like this all the time. And people are like, how do you deal with him? She's like, what are you talking about?
Right.
When I get home from work at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock at night, I got about a half an hour of him to catch up his day and communicate. And then from there, he's like, are you okay? She's checking my pulse to see if I'm fucking alive. I didn't lose everything in 2008, 2009, the housing crash. I was in the mortgage industry. It's not a sob story. Everything happens for you, not to you.
Yeah.
I adjusted, I pivoted, and then I made changes, which led me, to come back and live in Florida. So there was a time in my life when I was driving a UPS truck. I wasn't in finance and I wasn't working with contractors. I was in Brown. I was delivering packages in Tampa. And I was waiting for the opportunity to get back into finance, and it finally came. However, I met my girlfriend at the time, at a boxing gym. I was a general manager of a boxing gym, and she was there working out. And I was like, man, she's cute, and God, she works out hard. And, she's got 3 jobs. She's a hard worker. So I'm like, I'm going to ask her out on a date. So that's how I met her. I was the general manager of a boxing gym over in Tampa, and she was one of the clients there. And I walked up to her and I said, hey, do you have a 401k? Because I'm looking to get with somebody that's got some stability in their life. And she just was like, what?
I love that.
She's like,
do you have a 401k?
I found out she worked at UPS, and I was like, oh, I bet they treat their employees well.
Yeah.
And his story's really funny. She's like, what? She's hitting the heavy bag during the class, and I'm like eating like Cheez-Its. And she's like, what's wrong with you? I said, well, I'm looking for some stability. She's like, this is a weird way to ask somebody on a date. So anyway, we started dating. We've been together ever since. We've been married for 3 years. Anniversary's next week on the 15th. We got engaged on the 15th. Like a bunch of years ago, and we've been together like going on 10 years now. And she's the yin to my yang. And
going back to like my roots of like where people don't have money, but they are so happy because they're totally their moments with their family, with their friends. It's like everything, and they appreciate time. Time is what they have. They don't have money, but they're so happy. They have nothing, but they have everything.
They're invested in the moment. Look, I look at things differently. As I mentioned before, I'm part of Thais Syndicate, and I've been with Andy and Ed for a while. And I don't think the word failure is an interesting word for me because we all fail. We all do it. I would say, let's use a whoopsie. I'll say, what was my like latest whoopsie in the last 3 or 4 years? Let's call it that. I don't want to call anything a failure. So Here's my big whoopsie. I was working for this organization, this lender out of North Carolina, in the C, and I'm gonna leave all the names out of it because I don't redact. Okay. And the CEO said, I was on the creative team. I was the director of business development there. And he said, okay, I need all of you leaders to, we're going to do a round table, and I want everybody to bring their ideas. I don't care how outside of the box it is.
Right.
Nothing. We're just going to throw it up on the whiteboard and we're going to just chew at the ideas. So I was like, anything goes? And they're like, anything goes. Like, this is creative, right? I'm like, okay, cool. So there's me and maybe, let's just say 13. And I've got this idea. I've got this technology platform, this automation thing. I've got it nailed. It's actually built. I've got a team that can do it. My presentation was insane. Like when it came to me, I'm like, hands were sweating. I'm ready to go. I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, click, and boom, it goes up. And I explain how we can do this fully automated thing that's going to launch this business into the next level. By the time I was done with my presentation, 20 minutes later, there were melted faces as I looked around the room. Everyone's like, because they had like notepads, and some guy just showed up to say, hey, I think that we should be doing this more, And I like did a full blown presentation with named people, landing pages, process flows, live buttons. Like, I built it.
I can literally see them. I can see the people's faces.
I didn't come with a freaking idea. I started a business. Like, I was like, oh shit. And I had here's the director, here's the person, here's the love. Like, I had it all built out. And the buttons work. Like, they're like, oh shit, he went too deep. Never show them all of your aces and show them all of your deck.
Oh.
Keep some of your cards in your back pocket, because here's what happened.
Yeah.
I went and got married in Barbados. I came back 4 days later. CEO and the head of HR called me and they fired me on the phone. I've never been fired from a job. They fired me.
Huh.
They fired me. Why did he fire me? Well, because I opened up a business while, I was working there, right? But it really didn't, because it wasn't a business. It was just a fantastic idea. However, it was a $65,000 bonus that they didn't pay me, and I was fired, and I had a wedding to pay for, and we were just buying a house. I mean, it all hit at the same time. I was like, whoa. But within 12 hours, I had 4 interviews. I was on the plane to California to interview. I was up to Bethesda, Maryland to interview. And then I ended up going back to Service Finance. Yeah. And the CEO was so gracious to bring me back there, because we've just built a good, strong relationship. Yeah. So I went back to Service Finance as the director of business development there, and it all worked out. So to say failure, no, but to say whoopsie, yeah. At the time, it was like, how am I going to pay for this wedding?
Right.
But 12 hours, I had 4 interviews, and I knew, and then it was up to me to pick where I wanted to go work. So yeah. I think there's a lesson in failure. There's a lesson in a whoopsie to protect your cards. And when someone says, hey, anything goes, yeah, just be careful with the whole anything goes thing.
So I have a question. What do you think about, okay, so some individuals are always like, you need to have a plan A and a plan B. And then some say you never have a plan B. You always only have a plan A. And then you pivot if needed to.
You would think I'm the which one?
I would say always have just a plan A and focus.
Yeah, no, I'm totally, you'd think from my aggressiveness and how I coach and how I train. No, I am so nervous, so scared, so conservative when it comes to that.
Wow.
I'm very careful.
So you always have a plan B?
Always have a backup plan. That's just me. And some people say, burn the fucking boats. Dude, be careful burning all your boats.
Right.
Burn some of your boats, but have a boat waiting for you. Like, seriously, I'm going to burn all the boats. Yeah, man, burn all the boats. Go to war. Kill. Right? Meanwhile, they're all dying. Oh, I parked my boat out back.
So you're like risk factor.
Yeah.
Like you want to measure risk.
I've consulted with quite a few professionals from the group. And they're like, and it's funny, you'd think a lot of these guys are like, yeah, he's all in, he's burned the boats. Meanwhile, the dude's got a backup plan because I've got a family.
Yeah.
I've got a wife.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to put my wife into a situation where I have to come home and say, honey, we just lost it all.
Right.
Like, I get it. Some people are like, that's fine, I'll start over. I'll always start over because I've lost it all.
Right.
I've lost everything in my life multiple times. Mm-hmm. And I've always started over. I know what it's like to start from absolutely nothing and make $12 a fucking hour.
Right.
And make it back to where I am today. I've already done it. I don't need to have a plan B because I've already done it.
Right.
I know what it's like to start over.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys don't know what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
Who has taught me the most? So, I would have to say opportunity. So here's the deal. I wasn't probably the greatest student. I didn't go to the Ivy League schools. I didn't, matter of fact, even have the bachelor degree. Mm-hmm. However, I did have the creativeness to do what I had to do on my resume to get the interviews and to get the meetings with the right people. So if I go back to a roofer, to the real estate industry, to becoming the broker, to becoming a banker, that was a very pivotal moment in my life in Boca Raton. The gentleman's name was Tim Lernahan. And rest in peace. I just found out last year that he had died of cancer, and I didn't even know it. Mm-hmm. This guy's in so many stories because I've heard that question before. Who helped you make that pivot? His name is Tim Lernahan. So back in the day, this is in the 90s, we didn't have what we have today. Right. We had newspapers and job postings, and there it was like associate director, Republic National Bank in New York, construction to permanent sales job. Like, I was like, oh, that sounds fancy. I know real estate. I know contracting. I have my broker's license. I'll apply. Mm-hmm. I applied with a fax thing with a resume. I got the interview. We met in Boca Raton near the Town Center Mall. And there I was at the interview, getting ready to lie my ass off to get this fucking job. I'm like, this is my big break. I'm like 23 or 24. Uh-huh. This is an associate director position on the highest level at the bank. Like $116,000 a year, 4 weeks vacation. Like, I'm going from, this is the pivotal moment to go from here to there. And there I was in the interview. And he asks the question, tell me about points. I'm like, what do you mean points? He's like, units of measurements, eighths. I was like, okay, I got this. So I had a pen and I had paper. So I got it down. I said, well, on a ruler, for those watching, this isn't a quarter, this is an eighth, this is a 16th, this is a half, he looks at me and goes, no. He goes, you don't know what I'm talking about, do you? I said, yeah, you just asked me what 0.17, 0.25, 3 8, 5 8, 7 8. He goes, no, I'm talking banking, 100 basis points, an eighth, 0.125. He said, no, yeah. He goes, all right, I'm going to hire you. I said, I don't know what I'm talking about. He goes, no, but you sold it so well.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I just basically went with what I knew, but I sold him on the idea that, all right, he's asking me units or measurement. I got this thing nailed. He was talking mortgage banking terms on the buy down rate of a quarter basis point, how much the rebate would be pricing, the buy rate from 6.5 to 6.25, and how much would go. I had no idea what he was talking about. Guy liked my energy.
Yes.
He liked the fact that I just went into this pitch and sold him on it, and he gave me the opportunity in my life. And that's what got me into the financing space, and that's why I'm here, because I traded off of that job for the next 25 years. I've worked for 6 national banks now. I was in compliance and regulatory industry up in Connecticut and New York City when 9/11 happened. I was supposed to be in that building that day. That's another podcast, another story. Like, I traded off of that interview in Boca Raton my entire career because Tim Lernahan gave me a shot at the interview, some kid, piss and vinegar, lying about, this and that.
Yeah.
So Tim Lernahan gave me my break, which launched me into the ability to trade off of that, build my resume to work for all these lending institutions now and help so many contractors out along the way. So
it's like he saw your potential, and also he saw like that you were able to take what he wasn't asking and selling it so well. So you said, if he could sell me so well on that, if he can learn this, how much more can he sell?
And then he framed it up and then he put me to work and I crushed it. So
I freaking love that. It just takes one.
You need opportunity. You got to put yourself in places for opportunities and go. If you don't have the skills, go and tell them that you're willing to learn the skills to do it. Right. I'll break the fourth wall. It's real simple.
Yes.
My name is Christopher Scoville. My middle name is Ashley.
Yeah.
Named after General Ashley and Gone with the Wind. But that's for the next podcast on why my mother would do such a horrible thing to me. I was a geeky little kid when I was young. So anyway, it's Christopher Scoville on the Facebook. On Instagram, it's probably Chris or Christopher Scoville. And if you're in the industry, you'll find me because you'll just type that in. We also have a group called the Contractor Coffee Shop, which is a private, and I serve all asset classes.
It's a private Facebook group that's dope, and you totally need to be on it.
Yes. Can I pitch that real quick?
100%.
So it's called the Contractor Coffee Shop. And here's what we wanted to do. There's so many groups out there. And I'm like, and everyone's like, well, we have a group, but we don't pitch and we don't spam. We literally don't. I have to approve everything that goes in there, and literally all the stuff that seems pitchy and spammy, I just delete it.
I love it.
So I educate on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I do quick 9 to 10 minute videos on something applicable in the contracting industry. We're agnostic. So whether you're in roofing, windows and doors, siding, generators, HVAC, solar, whatever it is, we're here to help and connect everyone together there and just be a great community to learn off of each other. So that's it. Contractor Coffee Shop or Christopher Scoville is the best place to find me.
And maybe you can share with them already, but like you're starting a podcast.
Yes, within the organization.
Within the organization.
It is called, and now this is, you guys, if you've seen my video online before, I'm never going to have a podcast. I was anti-podcast guy. So what does an anti-podcast guy do? He starts a podcast. No, I called it, this is great, really original, the non-podcast podcast show. I actually have the URL, the www. It's nonpodcast.com.
I love it.
We literally own nonpodcast.com. It was $12 on Google. Winning. So what am I doing on the non-podcast? Keeping it very specific to problem solution. And then we're going to categorize them. So when a contractor comes to our site or our group, they'll be able to go, I want to learn about outsourcing.
Right.
So the outsourcing section will be how to outsource X, Y, and Z. So our guests that we have on our non-podcast show may be talking about one specific solution that they bring to a problem. Contractor needs more time.
Right.
Because they're not good at X. We solve for that over at our company.
Right.
And then our podcast guests get to talk about this problem solution, and we're keeping it under 15 minutes,
which is fantastic.
So short blurbs specific to problem solution, the non-podcast podcast show within the Contractor Coffee Shop.
100%. And guys, I'm inside the Facebook group, and it is one of my favorite Facebook groups. And I'm just saying that because you're here.
I appreciate that.
It's genuinely like, there's no crazy spam. And like you said, if there's no spam, it's like funny.
There's only 1,500 so. I mean, it's not like I'm not asking for 10,000 people.
No, it's like actually when you go inside of it, you feel the same vibe of when you're with Christopher. And
That's
cool. It is this very positive energy. And you feel like, wow, they bring so much value. I can go in there. I know I'm going to laugh. I'm going to learn something. And so I just want to congratulate you
thank
for
you so
building
much.
that.
Thank you.
And I just...
Thanks for having me here.
No,
I've been on a little bit of a hiatus from the scene, but I'm back on the scene. So it feels good. This is my first podcast that I'm back from retirement from. So thank you.
So thankful that you're here.
This is so great.
But if you're listening, we're actually going to go ahead and on all of the platforms, we're going to share all the links that you mentioned.
Cool.
Go directly to your Facebook group to join. Also, just in your Instagram, your websites, all that good stuff. So if you're listening, 100% value is Chris. Like he just is, that is what he does. Like when you our meeting with him in person or whatever it is, he literally just constantly is throwing out tokens of just knowledge. And you're really lifting everyone around you up. So thank you for being on here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really...
All right. Thanks for listening to Roof It Up. Until next time.
Bye, everybody. Roof it up.
See ya.